Our generation knows what it feels like to grow up scared. You don't have to listen hard to hear all the problems with our world, from poverty to the environment, to the political system, to the deficit, civil rights, you name it. And the result? We have this sense that our future won't be better than our parents. And the worst part is that even when we stand up, even when we try to take action and make things better, we can end up feeling more hopeless than when we started. When I was in high school, my problem of choice was climate change. And I'd gone to nature camp as a little kid, and when I saw an inconvenient truth, I just kind of freaked out. I couldn't take hot showers without having visions of my future children yelling at me for causing global warming. And I don't know what was weirder, the fact that I could picture my children clearly and they looked suspiciously like Ryan Gosling, or the fact that they're angry at my showering habits and nothing else. But either way, I was seriously paranoid. And I wanted to do something big, something that would rise to the occasion, but I didn't exactly have the White House on speed dial. So I tried to do as much of everything else as I could. I bought reusable shopping bags and an aluminum water bottle, and I joined the Environmental Awareness Club at my school, and we put power strips in every classroom, and we did recycling campaigns, and we ran around at the end of the day and turned off lights. And I worked on this kind of stuff for 3 years, and my lowest moment came senior year when I decided to dress up like Captain Planet. And this decision was made better by the fact that my school had uniforms, and I would do inconspicuous things like climb trees during my free period. But honestly, I had lost all sense of shame. Nothing was working. No matter how we talked about climate change, no matter what initiative we did, we never had more than 5 people at our environmental club meetings. No one stopped idling their car in the parking lot. No one cared. And I didn't know what else to do except throw on some gold tights, make a cape out of one of my mom's towels, and try to get the word out one last time. So later that day, I'm sitting in physics class, and I watch a girl go up to the front of the classroom, Poland Spring bottle in hand, and throw it in the trash. And right next to it, was an orange bin that said, "Please recycle bottles here." And I'm watching this whole scene unfold, and I just lose it. And I run up to the front of the class, and I'm still in my costume, so like my cape is fluttering behind me. And I get up there, and I grab the bottle out, and I throw it in the recycling bin, and I turn around, and I said, "How could you not recycle this? The bin is right here. It's right here. You should be ashamed of yourself." And I don't know what they teach in formal activism training, but I'm pretty sure shaking trash and screaming at people is not high on the list. But I guess I had just felt so powerless for so long. Here was this huge problem that affected everything I could think of, and I couldn't even get people at my school to recycle. Later that day, I was driving home, and I got stuck in traffic, and as I'm looking at the rows and rows of cars coming out in front of me with the plumes of exhaust coming up behind them, all I could think was, things are never going to change. And at that moment, I gave up. When we have an understanding of just how daunting the problems facing our world are, it can feel like the only thing that matters is sweeping, groundbreaking change. But there's this huge gap between what we see needs to be done and what we're actually able to do on a day-by-day basis. And to try and reconcile this, we have all these phrases. Little changes make a big difference. If we all pitch in, we can change the world. And we tell ourselves our efforts, no matter how small, are still a drop in the bucket. We just have to keep doing more, and eventually it'll add up. But what happens when this mindset leaves us discouraged? When even our small actions fail, and when we become angry that others aren't changing with us? What happens when it becomes easier to just stop, to not even try? What other option do we have? When I came to Yale, I decided I would start by not doing anything environmental. And one day I was in the library trying very successfully not to finish my homework. And I happened to come across an article that was talking about this UN program called the Millennium Development Villages, where they basically take the Millennium Development Goals to end poverty and empower women and so on, and they try to make them happen in one village. And to be honest, my first reaction when reading this was, really? I mean, it's the UN. It's all the nations of the world united. You would think if any group had the ability to take serious action for the billions in extreme poverty, it would be them. And they were excited about one little village. But luckily, the article didn't end with one paragraph. And it went on to explain that these villages were supposed to show how you could achieve the Millennium Goals and work out any kinks in that process. The purpose was never to stop at one village. The idea was to create a model that could then be scaled up and used in any village or any country or any continent to reach the same goal. And when we take a step back, the idea of testing a model really isn't new. I mean, look at science. You have a hypothesis, you run an experiment, see if it works. Or business, you create a prototype when you have a new product. But when we apply the same premise to how we think about change, it can radically alter our mindset. Because it says that the value of small action that you or I or anyone else can take, it's not the total amount we do. It's not how many drops we put in the bucket. It's about the process. Small action is a blueprint for large change. That's where the value is. Regardless of the size of the action, what matters is the method, whether it works and whether it can be scaled up. So not long after having this realization, I decided I'd hang up my gold tights and my cape for good and decided to try and do something different. And I was very fortunate to be able to found a group here at Yale called Project Bright. And what we do is we train students to design and install solar systems for campus buildings. And the group is really centered around a single question. You know, as I was walking around campus and looking up at all these beautiful buildings, I couldn't help but think, why don't we have more solar panels? And granted, I probably should have been thinking, what the heck is this building and how do I get to my class? But I couldn't get it out of my head that we had all the groundwork in place. We had fantastic support for sustainability, more than enough roof space, and the economics made sense. It would save us money. So what was missing? And the idea we came up with was that there needed to be a central group to coordinate efforts. You know, putting up solar at a big institution like this takes a lot of legwork. You have to find the right roof, figure out how much energy you'll produce, and once the panels are up, make sure that they're actually working. And though these tasks don't exactly fit under a single job description, they're a fantastic opportunity for students. I mean, we can listen to the promise of the renewable energy economy all you want, but standing on a roof and actually getting to hold a solar panel, that's a different type of learning. That's a different type of learning. And I have to be straight with you. I really like solar panels. Like, probably past the point where it's socially acceptable. And the reason is that energy is everything. I mean, it's the foundation of our society. It's what billions of people across the world are clamoring for access to. And I can't wait until the day when we don't have to start wars, when we don't have to destroy where we live or sacrifice the health of our people or burn away our future just to turn on the lights. I cannot wait until the day when all we have to do is wake up and look for the sun to rise. But the reason that I started Project Bright is different from this grand vision. It's feeling like the small actions we can do actually matter. The reason that our school isn't running around installing solar panels everywhere it can is probably pretty similar to the reason that the 6,000 other colleges in the US aren't either. So right now, we're working with 6 of these guys. But we know it doesn't end with us. Because if we can create a model that works in New Haven, it can potentially work anywhere. And this idea is why we can afford to hope. Amid all the talk of problems, amid the dozens upon dozens of reasons to be depressed about the future, at the end of the day, Every place is struggling with the same issues. From Abu Dhabi to New York to Youngstown, Ohio, we're all struggling to figure out how to provide a good quality of life for more people on a smaller planet. And the beauty then is that any small action we can take, just in the cities where we live, is never in isolation. It's a model that can help everyone else. And so when we show that an idea works on a small scale, what we've really shown is how sweeping, groundbreaking change can actually be achieved. Speak of cell phones. So I'll leave you with a challenge. Next time you walk outside, try to look around and ask yourself 3 simple questions. What could be better? Why hasn't it been done before? And how could I make it happen in a way that's a model for everyone else? I can't wait to see the change that you'll create. Thank you.